Hello. Um, yeah, I just wanted to begin by saying thank you to Claire and all the organizers at the poet's colloquium, and for all those in attendance. It's a really rainy day up here in Wisconsin. Pouring, really. I didn't think it was going to rain all weekend, so. Yes, and also special thanks to Peyton, who's behind the camera. And a quick shout out to Zeb, whom I love dearly, and I hope California is treating just right. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna read one new poem and then a poem from Death and, which should be out from Inside the Castle in 2023, if you can wait that long. Um, and then I'm gonna read a little bit from a sappy love poem, and then I'll read just a couple poems from a book called The Dick, the Bitch, and the Baby. So that should be a great time, and you should have everything you need for now. Okay, this new poem is titled We Will Never Be Handed. We will never be handed the futures we deserve. They are wedged between a bulletproof vest and a clotted, ragged heart. The face attached to this frittering, trembling, overworked heart changes, like the wind, in this browbeaten, bludgeoned city. This face plastered onto a body who and how this body of the murderer likes to fuck changes as one might their home when the landlord refuses to clean the dust-filled air ducts. We will never be handed the futures we deserve to tuck our fingers underneath the Kevlar vest and gently, lovingly pull the our new world from underneath, saying, Rejoice! The terrors you were taught and the nightmare of an open, raised hand were never there. Take off your belt of murder weapons. Take off this vest you don't need and never needed. Come, we will take you somewhere you can begin to feel human again, to begin to heal yourself and make it possible to heal those you have wronged. But we will never be handed the futures we deserve. They are nuzzled so close to the breast pocket of mace it will be argued in court that they were mistaken for bullets and loaded into a second round. They will be scattered as shell casings occupying a whole city block where tonight they will swell in acrid rain and float through the grates as imported beach sand might through a child's plastic shovel. We will try to save some, one future or two, the one still strapped to the thigh. But we will never be free on accident. We will never be handed the futures we deserve, not wittingly, not willingly. We will dig them out of a blue corpse if we must. We will plant them in the cemetery above the last police grave if we must. If the vest, the helmet, the belt, the guns, the mace, the rest won't budge. If what lies beneath won't release, we will, if we must, dig our fingers bloody on the fabric that keeps us from our only possible life, on the harness that holds us to the thrones we are staked to. We will gnaw and gnaw and gnaw and gnaw and gnaw. Our mouths a dull rust glob of wood pulp and lacquer. Whoever, whatever is left sitting above will come to no falling. If we must, we will dash them to the concrete, and what spills out will be a fragment of the futures we deserve. How tender it is to bend legs over this dike of Yarrow, bundled as a faggot tongue-tied. Lacklustered almost sound to spill into a full-fledged flock of an O, this warble of light in the water. You and I huddled over a tree root, holding up the shore, watching the penumbra of a leaf passing over the reflecting moon in the river. Whew. Poems, huh? Okay, so these next poems are from Death Hand. Let's start with the first poem. That sounds great. So we were born, so we brought ourselves to listen to a hand on our asses. The screaming took a long time to get back to us. We get it already. The tablecloth is not a dress. The glass pink rose has no stem, or dewy beetle pressed into grass. What becomes fork when placed to your lips, and what becomes shovel? You were asked all the wrong questions. At the hospital, at the operating or dinner table, but you come anyway to the right place, where the cotton mouth swims, formaldehyde to fix the tissue. If you spin the jar on the shelf, all the signs say don't touch, and we don't. We don't. Only by night. Only by accident. Earlier, cognate, courtesan, failed. Hypocaudal, the sun came out, the moon came out, all the luckless day, then I throw it away. Oh, 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 noon. Legal, bitch, you guessed it, tender, build me a fire. Hazard to write on, draw the water, make your mark XXX, the line gets darker, the money. To prove false, counterfeit, death used to be a horse girl, tonight they are in my arms. The first negation was of self, and plum tree. This one in particular, or its ancestors, these, the cherry plums, the purple leaves, landing on the runway, the screaming child in all of us. I am all ghost at work, not the house dick cleaning jobs, trying to remember my training. I consult my notes from the Whole Foods orientation class. Greet everyone within 5 seconds, scroll, wash your hands, ask them what their story is. Their story tells you what to sell. Change gloves. The word natural is not defined by anybody. The word natural doesn't actually mean anything. Ask. If you don't know, side sell, upsell. Change the channel to something we all can enjoy. A Disney film, sports, a comedy maybe, nice visuals. Change your gloves. James Mackey and Jeff Bezos. Cough into your sleeve. Wash your hands. Soap down, wipe. Water, wipe. Sanitize, wipe. Be enriched. Pack meat. Bridge failure to repair. All the mouth. Fall and fallow. LOL, LOL. Think these and not those. Wash your hands before you do anything. Wet fingers don't fit into gloves. Treat all blood and fluid as if they are contaminated. Happens to be cleaned. Whirligig, blizzard wishing, death says, I can't keep my hands off you. Summer sledding, can't keep my clothes on, apparently. What I came to do, I said unbidden, to talk about a hand on my knee. The man says, you're too pretty to cry on the bus. I drink a pint, then I buy another. The thing about pints, no one looks good in cardboard. He says, I'm hard as diamonds. Another says, I'm just a good guy looking for a good woman. Let me fly you down to North Carolina to see how it feels. I tell him I need first class and 12 grand a day. He says, let me think about it. Nothing lasts, he says. Aw, baby, even diamonds erode in the ocean. Bringing them to the surface might split them up skirt, split them too, but this woman is all water. But if you round up, not really, the strokes sing, what side are you on, boys? Trying to get home safe. At the table we brought home. The table we brought home had bed bugs. We all agreed to spread crushed up fossils, diatoms, aquatic cuties with sharp bodies who produce 20% of the oxygen on Earth when living. You used to get it in your fishnets from a boombox on the far side of the train, next to me on his laptop. A guy scrolls through nudes and semi-nudes, turns it so the guy next to him can see. Green dress, long shirt, scrolling. All I see is action. I don't know what to do with the rest. Whose laundry is this? All-day train ride. Really in hours. You travel more than anyone, James says, or Nina says. Say what? No one says that anymore, except as a joke. As a joke, most conversations becoming serious and deadly. The labels are working at the border. Some can't leave. Their sex doesn't match the records. Some can't stay on crowdfunding sites. The largest donation totals go to military vets and missionaries to patrol the line, the fence, chain-linked water store. Death and I pull the covers over us for another night. Death beats the history from my face when I ask them to, measuring openings, strophe, mouth, water, and food, and pepper spray for weeks, for months. I'm told to prep for if, for when they come for us. I've gotten so good at having a moment. Now I have days full of them. From June, oh, Joanne, 18th. This is for Joanne Kiger. Until the ice cube won't fit past the lip, I bleed. Into the water, the sound. Try to cover it up. This whole body, or at least like my neck. Circle one. Bruises or stubble. At work or grief. For father, death, everywhere all the time. Today, though, is harder because I left them. And I'm reading Bernadette Mayer write about Ted Berrigan doing things while he was alive, but so far only in a dream where I am. Ghost fishing is a beautiful, horrendous name for nets, hooks, cages, traps, floating, resting on the sea floor, and capturing creatures, living beings, while starved to death inside them or move in the water with the weight of them, until they are prey for whom the foremost scholars say are oil off a lucky duck's back, artificial intelligence slaughter machines. Let them become feral, and the tools go on killing without direction. If fishing were a body, we might call these nets and cages and traps organs. We might call them body modifications. We might call them vestigial, like some talk. In the body of water, they might also be prostheses. We might try to love the water without thinking about the water bottles. I am sick with containers. This one right here, of paper or plastic, and the one of wince, the one of cloth, handmade in the USA. Made in the USA usually means made by people who are incarcerated, means made by slaves. I ride over to Death's house at 10:45 p.m., and there is a family all holding their hands to the roof of their car. I let the 8 officers know I'm there. None of them speak to me. 2 of them have hands on their weapons. The parents are translating through their elementary school kids. The father is crying. The officers let them off with a warning. It is now 11:30 p.m. I tell Death I love them as often as I can, as I feel as I can, without being annoying. I tell Death I think the arm of the law once made sense, and Death said they were always part of the terror state, to collect rent or scare people into it and destroy families, to remove generational wealth, overpowered, overhyped, a boxer's fist, violinist's wrist, harnessed to capture only, and trapping, and then let it loose. Then, now, ghost fishing, tanks, and fear, and riot gear, and the pregnant woman at Walmart gets slammed to the floor for shoplifting, and the officers face nothing, not after I recorded it, and called, and sent emails, and video evidence to the reporters at every news station, Kansas City Star office, and Independence Examiner. Nothing, and now I am locked outside, reading a book that doesn't really get it in the same ways I probably don't, and the way that it says, I am afraid I am writing myself, metonymic off Death, who I wait on. To get home, I fly, fighting despair again another night, like the Trump is still president. Well, at the time I wrote this poem, Trump was still president. I'm sorry that he's not. I'm not sorry that he's not. You know what I mean. Trump in this poem is still president. I like to go down Jones. I like to go Dow Jones on death. What is a mouth? My hair is the longest it's ever been. Better to hold on to, but death rips it out sometimes. There's a rally in March this afternoon. I've become terrified of crowds trying to help abolish ICE and the military and telling strangers on the train and co-workers about municipalities going bankrupt during the 2008 financial crisis and how contractors told them to balance their books by increasing fines, court fees, etc. for offenders. Death and I met on a dating app. At the end of our first date, Death put their hands to my face, so gently to kiss me, a smile asking for nothing but another to stand next to. I watched Death get on their bike and not very drunk right away. In Nashville, I was so hopeful I campaigned on behalf of a mayoral candidate when intern becomes internal, working with a street newspaper sold by people who live outside or who used to, or who have no permanent residence, and the staff and I went to town halls, dinners, and who knew all the other elbow-rubbing, kowtowing, salt-licking, leather-oiling, ass menagerie, debutante, slack-jawing, back-hoeing, Caesar salad-tossing, cable company, NASDAQery, brunch-bellying politicking we did to get Megan Barry elected, who decidedly, no doubt, spoke during the campaign of fighting for the impoverished and homeless, but within no doubt a month of office had the police force raid the largest tent city, confiscate their entire lives, arrest everyone, and destroy the showers, the grills, the fire pits, the beds, the cooler systems, trails, homes, lives, put up fencing, caution tape. I do not campaign. I sleep on a sleeping bag, on top of a yoga mat, on top of a purple towel, on top of all my sweaters, on top of insulation foam pieces from the air conditioner. For strep throat, they gave me For strep throat, they gave me penicillin. At the Queer Center, they asked twice if they could touch my neck, twice before feeling for my lymph nodes. Solar extension F4. Drink into did. Fill your mouth. The end. Swallow honey. I knew it all along. After all, who knows the real face of choosing to be alive because the alternative is just slightly more terrifying. Last chance. We locked the bikes to each other in a cement block. Good fucking luck. Moving over and without, with what, to whom, lake, what the fuck, to read? Read. Painting the barn. Yellow. The fingers. Yellow. The whole sludge-dead, lush-yat world. Wish one weren't two. Two to moth-moan three. Three asking hyperthread, belt loop, blur, sword, notch. What I know of strangulation is how many times my dad said that's how he would go. White lies, flies, suck out the sap like you shouldn't. Snake venom from death's tomato plants. Soap solution won't wash them away. We harvest them green, while I don't think hanging from the ceiling would work. A fan and a light. No wait, no way. To be sure, to be safe, louder than drinking to death, yourself to death. No grave could be called early. Where soy and corn play hide and seek every year, where basements, where sheds, where the Kansas where the Kansas foster care system lost track of 74 kids, where hills and hillocks and cornflowers and chamomile, where flat, where all's well, well, that ends well, and the well is poison. Death is in the hospital. I haven't spoken to Death in years. I say, Mom, are you going to be okay? She says, the distance between us, the plants, the wind chimes, between doorways rings sometimes. and that is how she knows I'm thinking of her. She says, I didn't realize, a lot. She talks about death and how much she loved him, how high the suicide rate of long-term interferon patients is. I say, I think capitalism killed death. I say, I don't say, I don't blame you. She says how a filter is changed in the water treatment facility, how fast she had to type for the sprint relay job. We go on. Death buries a hatchet in the door to my sibling's room. She mentions this. I don't know why any of this is here. A tale, telemachina. Home, weary war, give me that D, give me that E, give me that A, give me that T, give me that H. Death and I walked to the center of a hedge maze 9 years ago. We kissed the branches at the entrance and everywhere else. Great. This next poem is from a book called A Sappy Love Poem. It's just the opening poem. I won't give you the rest for now. Haunt. Home is as bewitched to steal. My patrons call themselves gin, short for generous, when they pay for my rose-red services. How convenient. Opens the blinds. Oh sun, oh hi. Neighbors staring at my naked body. Some porch. Answer the door. It's the maintenance guy talking about the radiators. No, it's not. It's a dream of more or less. Yours talk. Funnel cloud of the ocean you carry in you. Dripped to my ear. Kept cool as panting. I guess I don't know much about trees after all. I tell my friend about a smile, and they say, oh, so you like performers. Hush, hush, the heaters and their hornet nests. Home is as, so mess upon so mess tranquilizer, only the steam, the fallout grows this large. Shower, unlike the rest of the world, a kiss on an Adam's horse apple, and Eve's eggplant makes want to stay alive any more and to ever wake. I take my God to task, where the solar warm water runs, sweet and clear, through my fingers, tangles, tangles. I can hardly see where my data goes. Will your song tear through a tiny net, or dismember fractal? Each word some search term coupled. How will the pieces of erotics be sold once it pools? There is no limit, and nowhere likened. Rough-handed bark, what is that? What is it that from yours sprouts into mine? Silly me. Home is as, and home as is, bears a look-see under a microscope. How a hand turns a dial, finger flickering across a blood-lined breast. How a hair splits from its color. In your arms, every act, public or private, is one of resistance, of succumbing. My fleshlight politic, broadcast across the network, are cell service providers. Each word I send you, each gesture I sell to the anonymous masses. Whoever wants to watch, to listen, doesn't have to pay a cent. All there is generate. It practically sells itself. It's a she. Thank you. I love you. This isn't a joke. If it were, you would tell it better. I verify my identity using my driver's license at the airport and the cam show. I think of you. How else could I live? There is a difference. A non-exclusive, transferable, sub-licensable, royalty-free, worldwide license for the next day. 3 maintenance guys show up. My God, they're multiplying, each one cuter than the last. Maybe they're all cousins? Or brothers? I refrain, as from saying daddy, except in a private chat, which has its own rules and regulations. I am disparate for your hands. Dark, even in the city without the moon. Turn on blue light filter. Now I can sleep. Panacea slump heart. Work alone. All day remote. Feed my marketable interests. You, you, I dream. Keep my streaming service on. Maybe this will sate this sweet, dumb suitcase of the heart and its cat-torn, shredded fucking zipper. Can't keep track of what I love. Thanks be to the maintenance guys. They do it for me. Although they left the back door open and my kitty got out. Oh, lo me, didn't know who I was until someone showed me all the models. Turns out my local grocery outlet mall, department slush chain, hardware store, restaurant, coffee shop didn't stock most of them, huh? Went straight for a while to the manufacturer. Factory direct, I guess is the term. Wow, finally, a product I like. Big shot, big E shot, big swallow pills. Whoa, easy there to love myself. Then boo-hoo, I fell in love with someone else. And several more people who feel, who sense, who look like. Thanks to the data collecting agency's annual reports, I remember all their names and birthdays. Once in a blue moon. There, do you see it? Now, the rest of the lights. A stage window opens, where half-colored hair fans through. One more real short one. After years of mopping corporate kitchen floors and making watery cocktails, I am finally my own boss. Beating rugs against the fence, I accept the dust as my one birthright. Are you gonna fucking kiss me or not? Yeah. So then here's a couple poems from The Dick, the Bitch, and the Baby. The dick, the bitch, and the baby are trying to survive. Rather, they, singular, are trying to survive. Rather, she and he and it are trying to survive. Or, more accurately, survival needs are interrupting the hard work of enjoying oneself and loving well. Callous caresses, shoulder massage, a meaningful, lingering, and opening kiss. When the dick, bitch, baby is hungry, exhausted, troubled, terrorized, in a state of disarray, or merely focused on not dying, they have no real energy to dedicate to fixing. And they are fixed. And they are fixated. Nothing they do feels exactly real or possible. If they are alive, if they are truly alive, if the ecosystem has collapsed, if they are about to be, they cannot be sure. They used to love uncertainty, to praise it while they raised the soft hair on the inside of their lover's thighs, to crack it open, hold it up against the thick, humid, zealot sky. Now the sky is in their mouths. Now the sky is a deadly mystery. Now, cumulonimbus, cumulonimbus, cumulonimbus. Now, all right, enough fun. The clouds are coming for dinner, and they like meat. Help me dig up this dog. 1. The dick, bitch, baby divides themselves up into the dick, the bitch, and the baby so they can play games while they do their chores and plan their week. They find it is hard to stay multiple and separate. Harder still to come back together. Okay, love, someone says. I can't tell who. Let's see, we've got to 1. Boil down the hormone water from the river. 2. Re-lacquer the walls. From what? The ground up, the bitch baby asks. Toenails, all the bodies left behind. 3. Give everyone a really cute nickname. 4. What's this? Say you. Call. Oh, steroids? Idol? You'll need to. 5. Make a story schedule. I'm tired of fabulating every night. I just wish we weren't the only living things, they say. Yeah, I'd like to feel something squirm again, they say. Well, I for one just hope we'll find some food, they say. I can't survive alone, they say. And they don't. Excoriated. It comes to our attention the bitch cannot pay her rent, reads the baby from her new work. This is not a feminist narrative, says the dick. You a man, huh? Are a man telling me, assures the baby, no longer having fun, what a feminist work is? No luck in the problem of stretching your life. Are you just trying to compensate for your stinky poops? Little string, dozens upon little newspaper string. The paint froze on the porch. This is not the metaphor. I wish it were, says the baby. No. Pretending to read from a book while reading from my phone is very tricky. The bitch says, hey, don't poke my sore bits. The baby hears nothing. It's pronounce it sorbet. And I want a cone. Cone tits for me, please, the dick bitch told the doctor. Years ago, maybe, before we understood the ground and its inhabitants, or tired, tried, tide penal colony. Where'd everybody go? Panics the baby dick. You get the picture. She opens up the last can of chickpeas. Save the aquafaba from the fire pit, screams the adieu adult. Adieu, lieutenant, baby bitch. We can have a night of meringues. Why not? Bitch, it seems like we're too old to televerify, swears the dick baby. Pretty iffy, I guess. Bitch, I love you. So much, says the dick. Will you kill me tonight? The bitch asks. The dick bitch asks. The baby dick bitch says, all the wood is petrified. Since the storms berailing and foggerel, soon origins, I promise, from the wet grave, the empty worship. Extant hunger, lull home on the outskirts. Tomorrow, form the bird from hay. One and more, the yarn is spun, 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 to the impossible floor of the sky. Everything that isn't ash is burning. Aw, baby, you're so hot. I love fucking that sunburnt ass. The bird will fly, I promise. There are worse things to worry about. I have, I think, just 2 more poems for you from this little collection. 2. The dick bitch baby goes out in search of supplies. In one of their favorite games, they imagine they understand what has happened, is happening. In another, they imagine they aren't alone. She says, you're not a Fiebertraum. 2 sling constant plead, summer? Looks here but isn't. The overworked ghost woman selling promethazine asks if they can tell her how much I've got left in here. In the torn label bottle, small potted plants lined up along the window. I don't get it. Are we alone or not? A line once sung, like little glass soldiers knee deep in the fray. Cigarette butts and bottle cap ashtrays. Pretend falling, pretend pout. Supposed noddle and etch. Home mess, shy, sylphogenesis. Except forget slew. Run your finger up the side. 50, 100, 150, 200, 240 milliliters vodka on the table of trash. Mouthwash tonight. They'll tell stories, remembering the push to attack Iran. Oil tankers, big capital outrage in the news. The news asks an investor, should we as security, and how? She doesn't come anymore for the war, for the space between fingers, rose jaw to brush away property. A tank of gas, a tank of oil, per 12 feet of trunk. tiny chainsaw work for the winter, for the soap, for the gloss, over who can, is allowed, is taught, and asked, puts eyes in impossible purple, shine, shine, easy to love, the growing blur. To believe in the future is to live. We have to live. How much longer? The baby cries, echo to the fabricated. Villagers await the locusts, sand bags, and mud bricks, then snow. In the last scene, the strangled and the strangler have the same expression. Two veins blup blup in foreheads. One close to the eyes, scribble, pen, a family descends stairs. Everyone holding guns is smiling. The walls aren't designed to love, bitch says, is to, I don't know. She screams again, this time aloud. I just want to feel alive. Not true. Okay. More alive then. Longer. Can you not talk so loud? Well, I can't hear a word you're saying. And I can't read your handwriting. Doesn't mean I don't love you, all of them say. Mouths rotten from kissing, sucking so hard and long. I don't know what to do. And then they realize something about themselves. Something they had forgotten. Such a turn of the warmth rising in her fingertips, growing vast into her hand, the pulse in her wrist a loosening knot, one of his throat, the itch on its scrotum quite unnoticeable, though still tender from being tucked up so ravenously. Shh, shh. It's okay. It's okay. But it's not! The world is going to end in less than a decade, and I want to spend it with you. You between my hands, mine between yours. Thanks, Freckle. The cracking concrete made of hemp and lime. Paintless sky, shaggy thigh against a blood mole birthmark. Could it be any worse than this? Pretend to eat. Actual swallow. Hammer into a spinal column. Sorry, this is the last poem. I don't know what I've been doing. The stealing. Even here, the dick, the bitch, and baby reorder aglow. Anything can become part of the great fire. The technological yearning. That's mine. No, theirs. No, more dandelion and barley tea. Are you sure we should be alive to witness, to take part in, to begin, to foretell, to imagine the thirst? Put your phone away. I'm just checking my makeup. When you cry the charcoal ash and your tears are gonna burn right through your cheeks, little mountain streams, huh? That's how you make lie. The lie this time, like last time, for all time, was the suggestion our happiness meant something good. The baby puts her foot in her mouth. There are things alive after all. I can see them crawling. Black widows in the cabin, maybe, so they sleep there. S-frog friends in the shower. That's the best story you've told so far, the dick bitch says. No, gulps a tear. The baby knows no one listens to the bitch when she cries. It's real. They're real. I just saw a bee go up under the roof. Really, I did. Why don't you? That's enough. You know they're gone. I'm sorry. Hold on. Wake up, dust bunny. Wake up. Splitter splatter. Honey drips from the ceiling. Thanks.